Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be going through my reading tracker and also doing a review of all the books that I read in January, which is 5 total. And yeah, we're going to go through my reading tracker. This one is by Novelly Yours. I honestly would not recommend it, and you will see why as we go through it. But yeah, it's a reading tracker that I bought off an Instagram ad. So, you know, be careful. I'm thinking about making my own. I don't know. I might end up making my own maybe for next year or halfway through this year. I'll come up with a new reading tracker, but yeah, this one's just not very good. But we're going to use it for the time being because it's what I have. And yeah, so you open it up and it kind of has like explaining how to do a reading tracker and then the goals and stuff. I'm not going to go through too much of this stuff because again, I don't really like it, but it has like lots of tabs and stuff in here. So my reading goal for the year is to read 72 books, and that would be 25,200 pages if they are all 350 pages. I feel like that's a good average, although that's probably a little bit low because what I've noticed is most of the books I read are over 350 pages, but yeah, anyway. Next we have a place for new releases, and here's one of the reasons why I don't really like this is because some of the pages are like plastic and some are paper. And I don't want to write on the plastic because it's not comfortable to write on the plastic. I'd rather write on the paper. But anyway, I didn't write anything in here because I don't like what this looks like. And I feel like it's redundant because we have the pre-orders and wish lists here. So I have the pre-orders and wish lists that I have for the year, which is just my pre-orders that I've ordered. There might be more than this, I'm not sure. But then we get into the 2025 reading log. We're gonna go back to the beginning parts and just start with the January log because I don't wanna like start bringing up books and not review them for you as I'm talking about them. So we will start off with January. And so the January releases, the only one I was interested in was Onyx Storm. Again, this is like a plasticky paper page. I don't really like that. So I might just start putting like my releases here, or I might just skip that part altogether. I just don't really love it. So this is my TBR for January. So we had The God of the Woods, Tale of the Heart Queen. I did read God of the Woods. I did start Collide. I ended up DNFing it just a few days ago, and we are now in February, so that's going to count towards February. But yeah, tomorrow and tomorrow I did read Cultish. I did not. The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan I did not read, but I did read First Lie Wins. So I actually read 3 out of 7, and I started a 4th. But yeah, we're not going to talk about that one in this video, but I did end up DNFing that. It just was not my style. So we can start out with my reading stats and detailed. So you can see the monthly goal was 6. And I'm going to start filling this out. I'm going to pull it over like this so that it's a little bit easier for me to write. But we ended up reading 5. And here's where I'm actually just going to review the books. So if you just want to see like the journaling part, you can skip ahead. I'll try to remember to put in a timestamp. Sorry, that was my other computer making noises. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. The first one is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I read this book for my book club, and I'm glad I did. It was very interesting. I would say this was mystery thriller. I gave this 5 stars. It was a little bit slow to start. I'm trying to make sure it's actually in frame. I don't know if I'm able to fit the whole frame in here, but yeah, The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. It was about a summer camp and a girl who goes missing, and then it's about her brother who went missing many years ago as well, and figuring out that mystery. And I really liked it. It was told from many points of view, which I actually thought was an interesting way to tell the book. We have our book club meeting tonight, but I think one of the complaints that I've heard from people I've talked to about it is that they didn't like all the different points of view. It was like too back and forth. I liked it because I don't know, I sometimes feel like if I'm just with one character, I get a little bored, but I gave this 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. It was my first read of the year, and it was a 5-star read, so how can I complain? I can't. So let's go ahead and fill this out. So for the month, we have January. Oh, although I guess it would be like 1, so I'm going to put January 1. I don't know why. It's kind of hard to decide how to like figure these out, but year. I guess that would be like when it was published. I'm going to go ahead and just skip that because, like, who cares? Oh, the number of the year. So it's the first book that I read this year. Got it. Understood. Start date was 1/1 and the end date was 1/10. I gave it 5 stars. The title is The God of the Woods. Excuse my penmanship, it's not fantastic. I think that we know that from just like 5 seconds. It's by Liz Moore. It was not a series, and it was 476 pages. Genre, I'm gonna put mystery thriller because that's like kind of what it says on Goodreads, although I wouldn't say it was like thrilling, you know. Source, it would be that I own it, but that's here. We'll skip that for now. Maybe we'll go back once we figure out what the source is. But format, I guess, would be, well, I own it. Format, physical. Or maybe that's supposed to be hardcover. I don't know. I'm going to go with adult because it's definitely an adult book. I mean, I assume. But anyway, that was God of the Woods. Really liked it. Would highly recommend, especially if you like a mystery thriller. Definitely really good. The next book that I finished was Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Mas. This was a mood read. I just like, for some reason, I just like wanted to read it. So I did. And, you know, I try to stick to my TBR, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So far this month I have, but I wouldn't be surprised if I go off script a little bit. But yeah, Jasmine Mas. I give this 3.5 stars. I thought it was really interesting. It was definitely an interesting read. It was like, it was fun. It was a little bit juvenile in the writing way, but it is like a 19-year-old or 20-year-old or something like that. So Jasmine Mas is not 20, but it's from the perspective of a 20-year-old, which I feel like the writing is more true to like what actually people who are 20 think. But anyway, this is basically about a girl who, this is set in the future, not in the past. So it is a dystopian where like the Spartans and the Olympians come back, and because there's like these big monsters that show up, and so they're fighting them, and the humans are protected by them, etc., etc. Yeah, so this book is about a girl who basically like has to go and like join the Spartans or whatever. She wanted to, like, she's more of like a math book girl, but she ends up being like a warrior girl instead. So that was that book. I thought it was pretty good. I will read the next one. I don't think it's coming out until December, but yeah, I am interested to read it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I just thought the writing was a little bit juvenile, but also like it's not meant to be a masterpiece. I think I bumped it up on Goodreads to 4 stars just for fun because I thought it was a really fun read. But so month number 1, I guess, year number, this is the second book of the year. I started this on the 2nd and I ended it on the 11th. So yes, I did read these books at the same time. I tend to do that, especially if a book isn't like drawing me in, like at First Light, or not First Light Wins. God of the Woods really wasn't. But then, so I picked up this one as like a different book to read at the same time. I like to read different books at one time just because it's kind of like a TV show, I think, like where I'm watching a TV show and then that episode is over and I watch a different TV show. It's kind of like that for me. And it helps me like stay in the story if I'm getting a little bit bored and like not DNF, even though I did end up DNFing one. But anyway, I gave it 3.5 stars. The title is Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Mas. It was 512 pages. Series, so series start, I'm just going to put, I guess. Genre was definitely fantasy. Oh, this is also supposed to be reverse harem, and it does kind of end up being like that a little bit at the end, but it's not like mainly a romance. There is a romance in it, but I would say this is fantasy romance, not romantasy, I guess, if that makes sense. Source, I'm going to skip. Physical and owned and adult because there was a spicy scene at the end. Okay, so that's the next one. The next book that I read was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This was a buddy read with my friend Heather. We still need to talk about the book, actually. But I really liked this. It's definitely a very character-driven book. I do have a thing here because it's like the funniest line I've ever read, I think, but it is... Lola, she leaned in to kiss him, and he kissed her, and then she put her hand between his legs, wrapping his fingers around the cylindrical chamber of blood sponges. Like, what? I think that's so funny. Like, why? Why? But also, it's very on character. Like, that is exactly how the character Sam would, like, think of that. So I thought it was really funny. And I know Heather liked that line as well because she texted me it as she was reading it. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty good book. I love the cover. I think it's a really beautiful cover. But yeah, it's about like two video game designers and their journey with friendship. And it's basically a character book, and I really liked it. I'm not huge into character books. I really like action and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was really funny. That line, it's also very emotional. I'm not a book crier, and this one like maybe made me feel a little bit more emotional than I normally would, but it was like in a good way. I really like this book. 4.5 stars. Gabrielle Zevin. If you haven't read it, I think it's good, and I think it's like also, it's just a book about friendship and about people, really. And I liked it. And there's some sad parts, and there's some funny parts, and some happy parts, and it was just a book that like made me feel. And the reason it's not a 5 stars, it just kind of lacked that, I don't know, like 5-star feeling for me, I guess. And it took me a minute to get into it as well, but so did God of the Woods, so who knows. But yeah, I thought it was good. I really liked it. 4.5 stars from me. So month 1, number of years. So it's the 3rd book that I read. I own it. Let me move my notes aside. Finished. Oh, start date. Whoopsie. See, I'm not very good with these things. So I started this on 1/12 and I finished it on 1/24. So it did take me a little bit to read it. 4.5 stars, and it's Tomorrow. It's a long ass title. And Tomorrow. And Tomorrow. I'm like, wait, am I spelling this right? I might be. No. Oh, shoot. There's only one M, but that's fine. Gabrielle Zevin. Series. It's a standalone. Length. This was 397 pages. The genre I put as lit fic, because it's like, it's not just general fiction, it's like thinking about things, you know? So anyway, it's not just a story. It's a story with a lesson is what I consider like literary fiction. But it was a physical book, and I owned it. And yeah, I would say it's also an adult book. I don't think I read anything besides adult books this month, to be honest. So moving on to book number 4. So there's book 4 for the year. Oh, you know what? I bet this is the number of book you read that month. So these are all going to be the same. And then next month, it'll be like 1, but then 6 we'll start off with. Or yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. Things are making sense now. Okay, so the next book that I read, and I'm sure a lot of you read this month, was Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This book, again, is very large. It's not really going to fit in the screen, but I think a lot of us know what this looks like. This is the 3rd book in the Imperium series, and I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. I liked it. I read it, you know, in less than a week. It did take me a little longer than I thought it would to read it. This is the Amazon limited edition. I pre-ordered it from Amazon. I did get it on that day, not until like 10 p.m., which was annoying, but whatever. Yeah, I read it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought that it was good, and I find Xaden and Violet's relationship very annoying now. Like, they can only say like the same thing over and over and over again. The ending I did not see coming, but it wasn't that much of a cliffhanger. Like, I don't need to read the next book now. Like, I know I have to wait 2 years anyway, but like, yeah, okay. I'm kind of like okay on this series. I gave the first 2 books, I think, 4 stars each. I gave this one 3.5. I'm just over their relationship and they're getting really annoying. Also, it would do a world of good for this book to have a glossary, because I opened it up and I was like, who the hell are all these characters? I do not remember. I don't remember what their signets are. Like, at the end, I had to look up what someone's signet was because I was like, wait, what? You know, so I think a glossary for this would be very beneficial if Rebecca wants to get on that. But yeah, I thought it was good. I can't talk about it too much because, again, it is a book in a series, but I started it on the 21st, so the day that it released, and I finished it on the 29th. I gave it 3.5 stars. I think I might change, well, I'm not sure if I would change my ratings for Fourth Wing and Iron Flame if I read them now. And I'll probably reread them before the next one comes out, because I guess it's not coming out until like 2026 or 2027 or something like that. So totally could reread the next one, but whatever. I mean, I could totally reread them, and I will, like, then, but not now, obviously. I have too many other things to read. So, by Rebecca Yarros, 2 R's, O's series. It is number 3 in a series out of, I think, 5. I'm just going to leave it like that, though. Length, it was 527 pages, the longest book that I read this month. Genre, definitely fantasy. I don't really want to say it's like romance or fantasy. I'm going to stay to like, if it's fantasy, it's fantasy. If it's obviously romantasy, I'm probably not reading it. But that's my my caveat there. Format is physical, and I own it, and it's for adult. I'm not sure if it's young adult or adult, but it doesn't really matter to me. So adult it is. Okay, the last book that I read during the month of January was First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. This is part of my own personal challenge. I'm reading the #1 book that was published 1 year prior. So this was the #1 book published in January of 2024. And I'm using like a Goodreads list for that. I'll try to remember to leave that link down below. But I thought this was pretty good. I gave it 3.5 stars because the ending was just really anticlimactic for me. I thought it was interesting. I read it in 2 or 3 days. I thought it was good, but am I like obsessed with it? No. Have I thought about it a lot since? No. And that's kind of like where the 3.5 comes from. I thought it was really interesting and good, and like it kept me guessing. Like I was like, oh, that's, you know, who the guy is, because you're trying to like figure out who someone is in this like whole thing. It's basically, it's about a girl who is good at stealing stuff, and she gets recruited to work as like a spy for this guy. It's not like the CIA or anything like that. It's like a crime organization, and she like, you know, does different things. But so it's about her, and she's trying to like figure out who the guy is who's giving her the instructions, because she like doesn't know. But you know, like there's lots of guesses of who it could be throughout the book, and I thought that was really good. It kept me guessing. It just was, the ending was pretty anticlimactic, which was kind of sad, because I was expecting like some big like reveal, and it was a big reveal, but it wasn't like as exciting as I was hoping it would be. So 3.5 stars. This was one I was going to recommend for book club. I thought it was interesting. I'm not sure I would recommend it for book club now, but I don't know who picks this month. What we do for my book club is each person has a month, and then they give like 3 options, and then everyone votes. So I don't know if I would put this one forward. I thought I would like it a lot more than I did, just because the premise seemed really good. But #1 book published last January, I guess. So, okay. Yeah, just a little anticlimactic. I did think it was good though, and it was a fun read, and I read it pretty quickly. So this is the 5th book in the month, the 5th book that I read this year. I started it on 129 and I finished it on 131. 3.5 stars. It is First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. Series, standalone. Length was 338. It also helped that it wasn't like so long. Like I appreciate that it wasn't so long. So I'm gonna call this also mystery thriller because I think it just wasn't that thrilling, but it's like, you know, marketed as a thriller. Anyway, okay, so format was physical, and I own it. And yeah, I guess I would say it's adult, but I have no idea. So those are the 5 books that I read in January. I'm hoping to do this as my review each month. One, because it's like a lot easier to just do it like this instead of sitting there and reading it and then doing a separate journal video. I don't know. If you guys like it like that, let me know. If you don't, also let me know. But this journal has tons of room for lots of stuff that you can put in there. DNF log, I didn't technically DNF anything in January, so we'll skip that. January book haul, I bought 10 books. So I bought Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and I got that off of Book Outlet. Antimatter Blues by Edward Ashton, that is the 2nd book in the Mickey 7 series. Priory of the Orange Tree, The Ministry of Time, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, that's the Matthew Perry memoir. The Bone Season, An Emperor in the Ashes, The Frozen River, Yellowface, and Onyx Storm, of course. I have already bought quite a few books this month, so maybe we'll fill this out next time together, or maybe we won't. I don't think we will. Because it's just going to be too many. Hopefully I never buy more than this many books. So I bought 10 books, and I like how the price, so you can be like, okay, I'm okay spending that much on books per month. And I spent $98.96 on the books. And I feel like that's okay. Like, I have a full-time corporate job. I have disposable income. I actually give myself $100 per week to spend on whatever I want. So obviously I spent some of it on books. Okay, stats recap. So we can do this real quick. I like doing these like stats and stuff. I don't know. I just do. So total books read, 5. The pages I read was 2,247. Audiobooks minutes, 0. Average rating was actually 4 stars. I also have a spreadsheet that I keep. So that's all this information is kind of like transferred from there. Total DNF, 0. Total reread, 0. Total acquired, 10. Total number of new releases, I guess, would be 1 for Onyx Storm. Total number of series, 2 for Blood and Hercules and Onyx Storm. Total standalone was 3. Owned, 5. Borrowed, 0. Best trope or twist? I mean, most quotable is definitely Tomorrow. Oh my god, I spelled tomorrow wrong again. And tomorrow. And tomorrow, wow. You know what? Do whatever you want, people. It's just really terrible. Most read genre would be, well, I guess it was mystery thriller and fantasy because I read 2 of each. Most read format is definitely physical. Best trope or twist? I'm going to have to go back to that one because I kind of want to go with God of the Woods for like, because I was guessing the whole time. So just know that that's not like my, like, I'm not like, yeah, obviously that was the best one. So highest rating was 5 stars. Lowest rating was 3.5 stars. Most read source, physical. Although, I don't know if that really counts. Physical owned. Well, what did we say source was on here? We didn't fill that out. I'm gonna skip it. I don't know. Shortest read and length. So that was, I believe, First Lie Wins. yeah. I'm just gonna abbreviate and say 338, and then the longest one was Onyx Storm, and it was 527, which I personally expected that book to be longer than 527, but good for you for keeping it shorter. Okay, and then January favorites, I'm gonna go with The God of the Woods. By, who was that by? Oh, Liz Moore. And this is a paper, but see, the other thing is that these papers are very thin and you can see through them. And so you like, I don't want to color that in, but like with a highlighter, you know, or a pen that isn't like ballpoint. I have to use this pen and not like one of my other ones because it's the only one that like works on the plastic pages too. So I'm also going to put tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, because if it's a 4.5 stars, then it was definitely one of my favorite reads of the month. Tomorrow was a very hard word for me. Obviously, we have struggled with it today. And this is by Gabrielle 7. And I gave that one 4.5 because I definitely would say that that's like, it's a favorite book. Yeah. I mean, of that I read, probably not of all time, but I mean, maybe of all time. I don't know. I like literary fiction, so 4.5. And then we get to here, and this is very interesting because it's these little graphs. I don't know how I feel about these or if I'm going to fill them out every month, but I thought it would be kind of fun. So yeah. So the first book I read, I gave 5 stars. So I'm going to put a little thing here. And then the second book I read was 3.5. So we'll go here. Nope, up here. Wow, dot graphs are hard. And then 4.5. So 4.5, I believe, is right here. And then the other 2 were also 3.5 stars. So that's what that looks like. Interesting. Okay. I don't know if I'm supposed to connect them or I'm just going to leave it for now. I think I'm going to skip these. I think. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to skip them because I don't really know what is going on with that. I might fill them out before like the next time I do this. But then, okay, so that is it for January. February, I thought we could write down my TBR because I do know what my TBR is and I've already started it. And then my wish list and pre-order, so we can actually start with that. So 2/4 is expiration dates, and I have already gotten that one in the mail, so that's good. And this is by Rebecca Surley, and these are just my pre-orders. And then 2/11 is Emily Wild's Compendium of Lost Tales. And that is by Heather Fawcett. I believe those are the only 2 pre-orders that I have for February. Yeah, okay. Books to read this month. So we have The Things They Carried. And that is by Tim O'Brien. And then coincidentally, I'm also reading The Women by Kristen Hanna. And that is the one for my personal challenge of reading the best book from the previous year. And then we have Ledge by Stacy McEwan. I'm currently reading The Things I Carried and Ledge. Then we have Billy Summers by Stephen King. And then we have A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. And the last one is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. There we go. So that's my February TBR. Now we can go back to like the beginning and do some of the filling out of the rest of this tracker, because I do think some of the pages in here are actually pretty fun. So let's go back to the very beginning. We have the pre-orders, and then we have the reading log. So you can see what I mean. Like, this is plastic and you can't just like start it on another page instead, because that doesn't make sense. So that's kind of annoying, but we're just gonna fill out the books that I read, and then we can like refer back to this all year. I like this page. I just don't like that it's on partially plastic paper. Like, I don't understand that, but that's what you get for ordering off of Instagram shop, I guess. The God of the Woods, and I gave that 5 stars. And then we read Blood of Hercules, which I gave 3.5. And then Onyx Storm. Wait, that's not the order, but that's okay. I also gave that 3.5. I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I just don't want to write the word tomorrow again. God, but we have to. I'm just gonna do it like this. And we gave that one 4.5. So we go. I wonder if my chaos is like hurting people who are type A or like have ADHD, because I'm all over the place. Apologies. And then we have First Lie Wins. And that was also 3.5. Okay, so that was kind of fun, and it'll be fun to like fill this out as the year goes on. Next we have, so this is, it actually does have like a lot of books in here. You can do, I think, 320. Yeah, 320. This also, oh no, 360. I will not be reading 360 books this year, but it's nice that it has it there. So then this has a couple of challenges, and it is a reading challenge for A to Z, which I think is a pretty common one. So we can go ahead and fill out some of these. So I'm going to say The God of the Woods is the God of the Woods. Personally, if it doesn't start with that letter, like if it said pick a letter that starts with a G, I wouldn't pick The God of the Woods. I would pick like something that actually has a G, because it starts with the. But anyway, so The God of the Woods was the, and then we have Blood of Hercules. And then, oh, I don't have to write Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow again. That is exciting. Then we have Onyx Storm. And the last one was First Lie Wins. Okay, so that was fun. Now we can just like, it says like if you're having a tough time, do a Q, X, or Z. We'll see. Like, I guess I could have done Tomorrow for Gabrielle Zevin, but that's not the challenge. So 25 and 25. So I figured this is where I'm going to write the books that I finish in my 25 and 25. The only one that I read in January was, of course, the one I love writing, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. And then as I figure them out, as I read them, I'll just add them to the list so we can keep track of how many I've read. So in the first month, I only read one. On my TBR this month, though, Pride and Prejudice, Billy Summers, and A Man Called Ove. So if I read all three of those, I'll be like caught up kind of. So then we have Create Your Own Challenge. This page is dead because of the series tracker, but I do love the series tracker in here. I think this is such a good idea. So we have read in previous years and read this year. So I don't know what the Blood of Hercules is going to be called, but I did start that one this month. And I haven't picked a color, but I think we're going to go with like this lilac-y purple for read this year. And this just has all the series that I'm in the middle of. So we have Dune, Daughter of No World, Red Rising, Murderbot Diaries, Beast of the Briar, which is the Bonded by Thorns, Mickey 7, Emily Wilde, The Broken Kingdoms, Belladonna, the Mind F series, Plated Prisoner, Imperium series. So I read the third book this year in that series. And then Artifacts of Ornos, I read all of those. I'm pretty sure that's not how you spell it, but that's fine. And then Blood of Hercules, I read the first book in that series in January. So I kind of like how it's like you keep the colors going. I don't know. I kind of like it. And then of course this is like a stupid plastic page, so hopefully I don't get into more series. Although there is one here that's not plastic. So anyway, favorite bookshelf. So this is where I could like color in and put in the favorite books. This habit tracker, I just put an X if I read that day. So I only didn't read on the 6th and the 9th in January. And I've read every day in February so far. Books of the year, I was going to do this one, but again, it has like it's a plastic page and I just don't really like writing on that. So there's a couple of pages for that, which I think is a good idea, but that's not how I have things. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with the paper part. So books by the year. So the first one I read was a mystery thriller, which I believe is this color. Yes, mystery thriller. So we can color this in. I like the act of coloring things in. And then the last book I also read was mystery thriller, so I'm just going to fill them both in right here. Again, apologies if my chaos is chaosing. Next we had a fantasy, and that is this like purpley color. And I have like the key down here. And then the fourth book was Onyx Storm, so that was also fantasy. Oh, it's interesting. It's going to be a nice little pattern this month. Oh God, my coloring skills are awful. I'm so sorry. And then the middle one was literary fiction, which is this color, I think. Let's see. Yeah, that's the same. Okay. My highlighters are just all over the place, but yeah, so I think that's a cool little graphic, and as we go through the year, it'll just like get filled out. I'm not probably going to read 192 books, but you know, just in case. I definitely would not recommend this book, this little book thing. And then we have more doc grid. So that was kind of everything for like the beginning of the year part. So let me know what you guys think. This was a little bit crazy and all over the place, but you know, if you like it, let me know. If you want me to leave things out, should I do the book review separately and just fill this out as a separate video? Because I think that actually would be pretty fun. But yeah, you guys let me know. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know what other reading trackers there are out there, because I really don't like this one. But I'll see you in my next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.